Good morning one and all. आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन में, जहां हम बात करने वाले हैं साक्षरता के ऊपर, जिसका थीम है स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ लिटरेसी। आप सभी लोगों का, हमारे लर्नर्स, हमारे वीटीज और हमारे स्टेट ऑफिशियल्स का बहुत बहुत आभार कि आप लोगों ने अपने समय निकाल कर यहाँ पर हम सभी के साथ जुड़ने का प्रयास हमारा सफल कराया और इस कार्यक्रम को सफलता की श्रेणी के पहले कदम पर हमारे साथ लेकर आए। मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करती हूँ। साथ ही साथ हमारे मंच पर आसीन हमारे सभी विशिष्ट अतिथिगणों का भी मैं आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ और उनका स्वागत करती हूँ कि उन्होंने अपने व्यस्तम क्षणों से कुछ समय निकालकर हमारे साथ इस कार्यक्रम में देने के लिए हमें अभिभूत किया। हम उनके आभारी हैं कि आज वे हमारे साथ इस कार्यक्रम में मौजूद हैं। मैं इस कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करते हुए मैं मंच पर बुलाना चाहूंगी डॉक्टर प्रीति मीना मैम, डायरेक्टर DOSEL मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, जो कि अपना वेलकम एड्रेस देकर इस कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करेंगे। टू डॉक्टर प्रीति मीना मैम।
Good afternoon to all. A warm welcome to all dignitaries and participants for this international conference under ULLAS Nav Bharat Saksharta Karyakram on the eve of International Literacy Day 2024. I honored to have Shri Sanjay Kumar Sir, Secretary Department of School Education and Literacy, as our chief guest, whose leadership continues to inspire us. I also have privilege to welcome our other esteemed dignitaries, NCERT Director Professor Saklani Sir, Joint Secretary Ma'am Archana Avasthi Ma'am, and Chief Education Officer from UNESCO, Joyce Point. This year theme is Spectrum of Literacy, which emphasizes on collective dedication in addressing literacy in its all form: traditional, digital, financial and legal, and lifelong learning, highlighting its role in global participation and empowerment. Literacy challenges are global, they are not confined to single country. This conference brings together experts from across the world to exchange ideas and collaborate on solutions that transcend the borders. The ULLAS Nav Bharat Saksharta Karyakram is focused on empowering adults as at about 15 and with essential literacy and life skills, allowing them to contribute meaningfully to the society and national development. This conference aims to generate impactful solutions to both local and global literacy challenges, aligning with India's National Education Policy 2020 and global literacy goals such as Sustainable Development Goal 4.6. I invite all the participants to actively engage in discussion and work together towards building inclusive, equitable and sustainable society through literacy. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to all, and I look forward to the rich and insightful discussion that will shape our future literacy efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. अब फेलिसिटेशन सेरेमनी के लिए मैं चाहूँगी कि हमारे सचिव महोदय डायरेक्टर सर के साथ साथ हमारे साथ जॉयस पोएम मैम है यूनेस्को से, और हमारे साथ है हमारे सचिव महोदय संजय सर। साथ ही हमारे साथ डायस पे मौजूद हैं श्रीमती अर्चना शर्मा अवस्थी मैम, डायरेक्टर DOSL MOE। मैं डायरेक्टर सर से ये अनुरोध करती हूँ कि वो हमारा फेलिसिटेशन सेरेमनी की शुरुआत करें हमारे सचिव सर को हमारी भेंट देकर। आपसे अपेक्षा है कि आप तालियां बजाते रहेंगे। धन्यवाद सर। अब मेरी प्रोफेसर अमरेंद्र बेहरा सर JDCIT से ये अनुरोध है कि वो जॉयस मैम को हमारा ये प्रतीकात्मक पौधा देकर स्वागत करें। अब मैं श्रीधर श्रीवास्तव सर JD NCERT से अनुरोध करती हूँ कि वो हमारी जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी मैम अर्चना मैम को ये प्रतीकात्मक पौधा देकर उनका अभिवादन करें। अब मेरी गुजारिश है प्रीति मीना मैम से कि वो हमारी डायरेक्टर सर को ये पौधा देकर उनका स्वागत, उनका आभार व्यक्त करें। धन्यवाद मैम। तो अब मैं मंच की ओर को सौंप करना चाहती हूँ हमारी आज की एंकर को, जो है हमारे मंत्रालय से नेहा खट्टर जी। तो नेहा खट्टर जी कृपया आइए और इस कार्य को संभालिए। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, ma'am. Today's conference will feature 3 key sessions. Inaugural session. This session will include keynote addresses by esteemed dignitaries, focusing on the progress India has made in the field of literacy. It will set the stage for today's discussions by highlighting the nation's achievements and ongoing efforts. The first session will delve into spectrum of literacy, exploring its multiple dimensions through the perspectives of various stakeholders. This session aims to examine how literacy extends beyond traditional boundaries to encompass diverse forms and needs. Second session, the final session, will present international perspectives on literacy with global experts sharing their insights and experiences. This session will offer a comparative view of literacy challenges and solutions across different regions of the world. So, I now request Madam Archana Sharma Avasti, Joint Secretary, Department of School Education and Literacy, MOE, Ministry of Education, to deliver the presentation on ULLAS Nav Bharat Saksharta Karyakram.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I find myself very privileged to address you all and the international gathering also, to present a small insight into this ULLAS scheme which India is implementing, and we are moving towards 100% literacy also as per the SDG goal 4.6 by 2030. So it will not be a very long presentation, giving you the highlights of the scheme and what India is doing about it. Presentation. Remote. So the scheme that we are carrying out is known as ULLAS Nav Bharat Saksharta Karyakram, and it is a centrally sponsored scheme which started in 2022 and will be continuing till 27 as of now. Next. The National Education Policy 2020 has specially dedicated one whole chapter on adult literacy, and the main paras that speak about it are 21.1, 21.3 and 21.4. I will read them out because they are quoted as such in the NEP. At the level of society and the nation, literacy and basic education are powerful force multipliers which greatly enhance the success of all other developmental efforts. Worldwide data on nations indicate extremely high correlation between literacy rates and per capita income. And para 21.3 says that extensive field studies and analysis both in India and across the world clearly demonstrate that volunteerism and community involvement and mobilization are key success factors of adult literacy programs. In conjunction with the political will, organizational structure, proper planning, adequate financial support, and high quality capacity building of the trainers. And para 21.5, 4 points towards a scheme towards it. It says that strong and innovative government initiatives for adult education, in particular to facilitate community involvement and the smooth beneficial integration of technology, will be affected as soon as possible to expedite this all-important aim of achieving 100% literacy. As a result of this commitment given in the National Education Policy, the scheme was introduced in 2022. It was initially known as New India Literacy Program, but we have changed it to a much better name which portrays how we feel about the scheme. So ULLAS basically means joy coming from the heart. So it is by the learning of light of learning that we gain that. So the name is now ULLAS, Nav Bharat Saksharta Karyakram. Next. So the latest literacy rate now, earlier we had the data of 2011 by which we were projecting the rate of illiteracy in the country. But we now have this PLFS data of 22-23, which shows us that the overall literacy that we have achieved as a country is now 80.3%, out of which 88.9 is of urban region and 77% is of rural region. And the male female also, you can see there is still a gap and we have some way to go. But male in urban is already 93%. So these are the latest figures which are very encouraging, and in the next survey we hope that due to ULLAS we make a much bigger stride. Next. So adult education in India extends the education options to those adults who lost on the opportunity of formal education in schools, and they are not covered by the RTE now. And they have transcended that age of formal education. So basically it covers from 15 to 18. Gradually we think once the RTE takes over and all our students are in school, there will come a time when even after 15 years everybody is literate. So 15 years and above is the focus, and 50, 60 till the economic, they can contribute to economy, they are the focus, but nobody is left out of the scheme. Like I said, it is from 22 to 27 as of now. And the 5 components are foundational literacy and numeracy, critical life skills, basic education, vocational skills, and continuing education. So the next 4 components, the first component we are taking care of initially, and the next 4 will be based on convergence with the various departments and ministries who are already working on the other components. Next. Literacy schemes in India have been there right since independence days, and have come out in various forms with sometimes prime focus, sometimes not so much of focus, but they are there. So what is new in ULLAS? So firstly, since it is digital age now and we are doing most of our things digitally, and to move ahead in the world, we need digital access and digital capabilities. So the scheme has also come in a hybrid mode. We have a ULLAS app on which digitally also all teaching learning material is available, registration is happening. Plus the traditional mode of paper and pen and slate and board, that is also going on. So that is for the first time that digital techniques are also being used in ULLAS. Second, it is completely volunteer based. As we all know, it should be a matter of pride if everybody around us is educated. So it is the duty of each and every person, not only of the government, that the country becomes fully literate. So it is purely volunteer based, and we are happy to note that students are coming in huge numbers to take on this responsibility. And third is that earlier in the schemes, signing your name was considered as being literate, which has changed now. We now have this exam called FLNet through NIOS, and we certify them as either literate, or if they have not passed, then as needs improvement, so that they can appear again. So these 3 are the major digressions from the earlier schemes. Next. The logo, the tagline, and the mobile app of ULLAS, they were launched by Honorable Education Minister Shri Dharmendra Pradhan. It was on the occasion of 3rd anniversary of NEP 2020 last year on 29th July. So these are the logos. The logo portrays that we are doing it in a hybrid mode. And the ULLAS mobile app is now fully operational. And as of now, we have more than 1.57 crores non-literates registered on it and more than 37 lakh volunteers registered on it. And these are the numbers which have been loaded on the platform. There are many more which are yet to be registered. So the numbers are actually more. Next. So this I already said. This mobile app is being used for self-registration also, registration by the surveyors also, and the teaching learning material developed by NCERT, the National Cell for Literacy, which is a part of NCERT, and that is also loaded on the ULLAS app. So any volunteer who wants to teach through the app can also do so. The primers were also launched. So we now have primers in all official languages plus English. So 23 languages primers are available. Besides this, in 79 languages, we have developed the FLN modules and primers for children. So even they can be, we will be loading them also here, and they can also be used to teach the non-literates. Next. So it is, the scheme is implemented either through the mobile app, or we have made now Samajik Chetna Kendras in various places, which can be placed in any community building or panchayat ghar or schools or colleges after the teaching hours. So it can be established anywhere where there is a space where 20-25 people can sit. And we now have thousands of Samajik Chetna Kendra across the country and are increasing. NCL I already talked about. They are developing they are the partners in developing the teaching learning material capacity building, and the need-based surveys and need-based evaluation of what we need to do further is being done by NCL, NCERT. Next. So the other major steps that we have taken is, a question was coming up as to why should people do it for free? Why should they volunteer? So how do we motivate the volunteers to do it as a duty or kartavya bodh, as we say? So UGC, AICTE and NCTE, all three organizations have issued directions that they will be giving credits to students for making 2 to 3 students volunteers in case of colleges. And NCTE, because it is a teacher training institute, so they have made it mandatory as a coursework to take 8 to 10 illiterates per year for, so we are hoping that this will give us a huge army of volunteers and we can achieve our targets much earlier than we have planned. Then we have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel for guidance of volunteers and learners on how to do it. We have given flexibility to states to whenever they have a substantial number, anytime twice in a year they can have FLNATs. We also do it twice a year. They can take on that day or some other day that we are allowing. With vocational skills with Skill Education Ministry, we have tied up. So the neo-literates who want to upskill their talents or some new career progression, they can take training from the Jan Shikshan Sansthans for that. So these are the steps which are in progress. Next. The latest thing that Government of India has done, that we have come up with a new definition of literacy, borrowed from what UNESCO has defined as literacy. So as you can see, the UNESCO definition is quite comprehensive, and actually even to learn the whole definition, how do we do it, it was proving to be a little difficult. So we had stakeholder consultations, of which UNESCO was also a part. And the final definition that we have come up is that literacy is the ability to read, write, and compute with comprehension. That is to identify, understand, interpret, and create, along with critical life skills, such as digital literacy and financial literacy, etc. So this is in alignment with the international definition also, and we will be going ahead with this. Similarly, what is full literacy, which has been given as a target in the National Education Policy and also in the SDG 4.6. So we have said that achieving 95% literacy in a state or UT may be considered as equivalent to fully literate. Because as we all know that 100% literacy is not possible for any country, there are people maybe with intellectual disabilities or with age they cannot learn. So 95% has been considered to be the aim for that. So we will be going ahead with these two definitions now. Next. So Kartavya Bodh, like I said, Kartavya Bodh means a feeling of sense of duty which comes from within. So volunteerism comes out of inspired or imbued by the Kartavya Bodh, and that is how our volunteers are doing it. So school students, teacher training institution students, then the volunteers of NSS and NYKS, government teachers, Anganwadi workers, housewives, corporate train, everybody is out for, based on Kartavya Bodh, they are coming for volunteering in this scheme. Next. Jan Bhagidari as a people's movement, we last year in the same time in the literacy week from 1st to 8th September, we had rallies, conferences, stakeholder consultations, meetings, community meetings, and in all, I'm very proud to say that more than 3 crore people participated last year. And this year also the same literacy week activities are going on across the country. Perhaps we'll have the figures by tomorrow. And as guided and inspired by our Minister Shri Dharmendra Pradhanji, Education Minister, we held an ULLAS Mela on 6th and 7th February in 2024, where volunteers and neoliterates were facilitated, and also the primers were launched. So that has also been a good exercise, and we are now having ULLAS Melas in all 36 states and UTs again in these 2-3 months. Already 10 states have done it, others are on their way. So my presentation is basically over. I'll just want you to see some snippets of what we are doing. Next. So this is a photograph of the ULLAS Mela, which was chaired by our minister. Next. These are the activities that are going on in various states. Next. So the volunteers teaching. Next. Same. The modes are being used, the blackboards and digital and everything. These kinds of ruts and vehicles are moving around in various small places to make people aware of the scheme. So many states are following this. There are rallies, there are Gyan ruts and vehicles. Next. So these are some unique styles of inspiring people. Chhattisgarh has made this Saksharta Choraha, where this lady, like Statue of Liberty, she is carrying the ULLAS book in her hands. And designs on Mehndi with akshars and numbers and letters. So they learn more. Next. These are the glimpses of the exams being taken. So this one is a jail and the other one is in Ladakh. Next. One small testimonial. चला दीजिए इसको. ये वीडियो है, चला दीजिए. वॉल्यूम नहीं आ रहा आपका. It's not moving. प्ले करिए ना, नीचे प्ले का बटन है. चल तो रहा था. नेक्स्ट वाला देखिए, नेक्स्ट वाला. Is this playing? Okay, so this is a volunteer who was called the man of the match in the ULLAS Mela. I think she is here. Mandvi, is she here? Okay, so I'm sorry we could not play the videos. So that was my presentation, and that's what our country is doing for adult literacy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for apprising us about the scheme. I now request Professor, just a minute. I now request Professor Dinesh Prasad Saklani, sir, Director NCERT, for his special remarks.
Good afternoon to everybody. First of all, congratulations on the Ganesh Chaturthi. This is today, we are having Ganesh Chaturthi, and Ganesh is supposed to be the god of wisdom. So through this is auspicious day today, and we are having this conference today for making all to read and write and understand comprehensively. So this is the best way of doing things with us. So I welcome all of you. We have Sri Sanjay Kumar ji, Secretary, School Education and Literacy, Madam Archana Awasthi ji, looking after this program, and Ms. Joyce Poon, Chief of Education Sector, UNESCO, our Joint Director, Professor Srivastava, Usha ji, who is looking after this program at NCERT, Madam Kesang, and Member Secretary NCTE, and we have our colleagues from states, secretaries, and from all over country. This is an international conference, so this is an occasion to moving ahead. Our NEP 2020 has clearly mandated that learn how to learn is very important. So whatever we learn, first we have to learn how to learn that. And this illiteracy at this age, this 21st century is very, very, some sort of curse on us. It is not in good taste that we people in India who have been the heirs of a glorious civilization, and we were supposed to be source of light, enlightenment, Vishwaguru in our civilization, and that has been proved because so much literature we produced from Vedas, Ved, Upanishad, epics, and all the commentaries till medieval century. You will find that lot of creations we did in the field of literature, and that literature was not simple literature. It was connected with the society, it was connected with the humanity. And at that time, if you remember Kabir, who said, Masi kagad shuyo nahi, kalam gayi nahi haath. But do you think that the wisdom of that poet, means he says, I have never touched pen and ink. But is it possible to imagine that without doing that, he could give this much of, message to the humanity? See his poetry. आचार्य हजारी प्रसाद द्विवेदी ने कबीरदास के बारे में कहा था कि कबीर कभी नहीं थे, बल्कि ठोक पीट करके कभी बना दिए गए थे, और उनकी भाषा को सदुकड़ी भाषा कहा था। ये सदुकड़ी भाषा क्या है? आप देखेंगे कि एनईपी 2020 और जो इसका थीम आपका है, जो मल्टीपल लैंग्वेजेस का जो हमारा लिंग्विस्टिक डाइवर्सिटी है, कबीर की रचनाओं में कितना लैंग्वेजेस का समावेश है, तो क्या किसी इलिटरेट पर्सन के लिए संभव है? एंड हिज मैसेजेस आर fully quoted from the Upanishads. So see the humility of that person, and the messages. कबीर पे कितने PhD हो गए, और पहली PhD कबीर ग्रंथावली को जो कंसाइज किया था वो डॉक्टर गोविंद प्रसाद बड़थवाल ने किया था, और उनका जो कबीर ग्रंथावली है अपने आप में बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है। अब देखिए उस कबीर पे कितना ज़्यादा, और जो आपके श्याम सुंदर दास थे, श्याम सुंदर दास की कबीर ग्रंथावली बड़ी प्रामाणिक मानी जाती है। तो कितना एक उस व्यक्ति की वजह से कितना आज तक भी लिटरेसी डज नॉट मीन दैट यू जस्ट ओनली रीड एंड राइट. Literacy means to educate yourself mentally, and that mental education is very much important. We have the examples of so many emperors who used to say they don't know anything, but they have been ruling the states and empires by their wisdom. So that is the message we have to understand. And if we have people with us who say that they don't know anything, so it does not mean that they really don't know. It is the onus on us that we approach them and we motivate them that you know everything. This is just, lightning of an, ember. एक चिंगारी की जरूरत है, जो कि वॉलंटरिज्म की बात की गई है, इसमें वॉलंटरिज्म हमारे कल्चर में है, सिविलाइजेशन में। बिना पूछे हुए हम सबको सलाह देते हैं और बहुत अच्छी अच्छी सलाह दे देते हैं। तो ये वॉलंटरिज्म तो हमारे हेरिटेज में है, हम सबके साथ इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, सोशलाइजेशन करते हैं। तो लेट अस डू सोशलाइजेशन फॉर लर्निंग एंड टेकिंग पीपल अहेड। उनको आगे ले जाने के लिए सोशलाइजेशन करेंगे। 2 मिनट फालतू बात करने के बजाय अगर हम उनको लर्निंग प्रोसेस बताएंगे और उसकी तरफ मोटिवेट करेंगे तो दे हैव आइडिया, बट हाउ टू ब्रिंग दैट आइडिया इनटू रियलिटी, दैट इज ऑन अस। हमारे ऊपर ये बहुत कुछ निर्भर करता है कि हम अपना समय थोड़ा सा भी निकालें, और इसमें कोई भी कर सकता है, इसके लिए कोई क्वालिफिकेशन की जरूरत नहीं है। ऑल आर क्वालिफाइड फॉर डूइंग दैट। जो भी बच्चा स्कूल जाता है, लिखना पढ़ना जानता है और समझता है, उसके अंदर पैशन होना चाहिए। तो ये जो थीम है, ये थीम बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है। और मल्टीपल जो हमारा मल्टीलिंगुअल एजुकेशन है, प्रमोटिंग मल्टीलिंगुअल एजुकेशन, इंटरनेशनल लिटरेसी डे का थीम है मल्टीलिंगुअल, प्रमोटिंग मल्टीलिंगुअल एजुकेशन, लिटरेसी फॉर म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड पीस। So if we focus on that, then we know that our country has the rich repository of languages, different languages, multiple languages. And if those languages are not recorded, languages are not having any script, it does not mean that they are not languages. अभी तक ये डिस्क्रिमिनेशन होता था कि डायलेक्ट क्या है, लैंग्वेज क्या है, बड़ा टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन दे करके जो इतनी सारी बोलियां हैं, उन बोलियों को उभरने नहीं दिया जाता था। उनके साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करके हम कहते थे नहीं, ये कुछ सर्टेन जिसमें स्क्रिप्ट है वही जो है भाषा होती है। मगर भाषा क्या है? भाषा अभिव्यक्ति के माध्यम को भाषा कहते हैं। जिस चीज में भी हम अभिव्यक्त करते हैं, आवर वे ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन और मीडियम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन, दैट इज द लैंग्वेज इटसेल्फ। व्हेन वी एक्सप्रेस, इवन द बर्ड्स एंड द animals have the language, they express themselves in that language. Even the trees and plants have the language, that has been proved. They also express, they also communicate with each other, but it is on us that how we understand their language. ये हम लोग उनके लिए illiterate हो सकते हैं क्योंकि हम उनकी language नहीं समझते। So this is mutual. Understanding each other is the basic idea of being literate, and being literate for yourself and for others also. So ये बड़ा important हो जाता है। तो multilingualism is very important factor, and until and unless we reach out to all people through their languages and enable them to connect with ourselves, then this world cannot progress. Particularly our nation, which has vast resources and beautiful resources in the sense of the diversity of the people and the diversity of the language and tradition and culture and orientation and different things are there. So how to connect these people, that is important. For that we have been trying to develop the primers for the teachers and the students, those teachers and students who are not in the mainstream. ट्राइबल लैंग्वेजेस बहुत सारी हैं, क्या उनकी लैंग्वेज? देखिए, मैं कई बार इतिहास का विद्यार्थी रहा हूँ तो क्षेत्रों में जाता हूँ, विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में जाता हूँ, और मैं जिस ट्रेडिशन को स्टडी कर रहा था उस ट्रेडिशन में मैंने देखा कि बहुत सारी वैदिक ट्रेडिशन की चीज़ें उनके पास है। वो संस्कृत के श्लोक नहीं जानते मगर उसको एडहियर करते हैं, उसको एडहियर करते हैं आज तक। अब देखिए कब वेद रहे होंगे, कैसे उनका ट्रांसमिशन हुआ होगा और कैसे उनका ट्रांजिशन हुआ होगा, कैसे वो लोगों तक पहुंची है, और आज तक भी उन्होंने उसको रिपोजिट किया है। बट ओनली डिफरेंस इज दैट दे डोंट नो हाउ टू राइट दैट, और वो संस्कृत से कैसे कनेक्ट होगा, क्योंकि शास्त्र एक चीज है, लोक दूसरी चीज है। लोक से ही शास्त्र निकलता है, जो लोक में सिद्ध हो जाता है वो शास्त्र बन जाता है, और जो लोक जिसको ग्रहण नहीं करता है वो डाई डाउन हो जाता है। तो इतने शास्त्र हमारे जो है खत्म हो गए, समाप्त हो गए, तिरोहित हो गए। क्यों? क्योंकि वो लोक में अपने को स्थापित नहीं कर सके, लोक के हिसाब से नहीं चल सके। इसलिए इतनी बड़ी पॉपुलेशन को अगर हम नहीं साथ में जोड़ते हैं तो दिस इज आवर फेल्योर। उसके लिए हमने अभी फिलहाल फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम 121 in such languages we are developing primers, and as of now 79 primers have been launched, and they will be uploaded shortly on the different platforms for the accessibility of all. But we are now close to develop all the 121 primers. After that we will move on the second phase where the 273 such languages are there. We will develop the primers for those so that they people can connect themselves with the mainstream and mainstream can connect with them. क्योंकि हम किसी ट्राइबल स्कूल में जाते हैं और बच्चों को बताते हैं, किस भाषा में बताएंगे? वो नहीं समझते हमारी भाषा, ना हम उनकी भाषा समझते। तो तो जैसे हम उनको इलिटरेट कहते हैं वो भी हमको इलिटरेट कह सकते हैं। तो कैसे कनेक्शन करना है, दैट कनेक्टिंग पॉइंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट ब्रिज इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. That we are trying to build that bridge through these primers, and even the teachers, well-educated teachers, are being deployed there. They are appointed there, but they don't know how to communicate with the society, how to communicate with these kids. So for them, such efforts are being made, so that the connectivity must be established first of all. Understanding will develop after that. When you are not able to communicate with each other, then how can you understand? So understanding will be there, and then see if we understand that vast, population, how much we are going to understand about the very much, what I can say, treasure of our country. कितना हमारे पास वनों में संपदा है, पेड़ पौधे पक्षी प्राकृतिक सोर्स संसाधन कितने हैं, और उनकी भाषा में वो लोग कैसे उसको यूज करते हैं, बोलते हैं क्या उसके लिए और कैसे यूज करते हैं, कितना यूज है उसका। हम इतनी बड़ी संपदा से अपने को वंचित कर रहे किए हुए। एटकिंसन ने गजेटियर बनाए थे, और एटकिंसन ने गजेटियर कैसे बनाया, एक किताब लिखी इकोनॉमिक बॉटनी ऑफ इंडिया। कैसे लिखी, सारे पटवारी को उसने ऑर्डर दे दिया कि आप जाकर के सारा क्षेत्र में इन्फेक्शन करिए, और जो प्लांट्स किसी भी प्रकार के वैल्यू जिनकी है उन प्लांट्स को आप लिस्ट आउट करिए। उन्होंने बहुत ज़्यादा उसको अपने से जोड़ा। तो इस प्रकार से ये उन लोगों तक पहुंचना और उन लोगों से पहुंच करके अपने लिए रास्ते खोलना और उन लोगों के रास्ते खोलना, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो ये जो थीम है आपका, ये इसके अलग अलग सेशन भी हैं इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के, इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के, और हमें इसको सक्सेसफुल बनाना है। तो ये तभी हो सकता है जबकि सबकी सहभागिता हो, और उसके लिए जो अर्चना जी ने अभी वॉलंटरिज्म की बात बताई, वो वॉलंटरिज्म बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है। और ये कॉन्फ्रेंसेस करने का मतलब यही है कि वट एवर एफर्ट गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग, दोज एफर्ट आर कैरीड फॉरवर्ड बाय द सोसाइटी, बाय द पीपल, एंड ओनली गवर्नमेंट कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग। ये सब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है सबके लिए। तो ये उल्लास सचमुच उल्लास बन जाएगा अगर हम सब लोग इसको प्रयास को आगे करेंगे, और सबको हम उनकी पावर, जो पावर ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग है थ्रू लिटरेसी। अब ये केवल अक्षर लिखने पढ़ने की बात नहीं है, मल्टीपल लिटरेसीज आर देयर नाउडेज। अगर हम मोबाइल का यूज नहीं जानते, डिजिटल लिटरेसी नहीं हमें समझ में आती, तो हम कितने ज़्यादा वंचित हो जाते हैं किसी चीज़ से। एक मोबाइल से हम कितने सारे काम कर लेते हैं, बैंक का पेमेंट कर लेते हैं, टिकट बुक करा लेते हैं, और दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ टूल ऑफ लिटरेसी। तो मेकिंग अवर सेल्फ अवेयर अबाउट द यूज ऑफ डिजिटल टूल्स, इक्विपमेंट्स इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। बेसिक टूल्स जो है, स्मार्टफोन, मोबाइल फोन सबके पास है, तो आप अपना समय भी बचा सकते हैं। बैंक में जाने के बजाय, या बिजली के ऑफिस में जाने के बजाय, या पानी के ऑफिस में जाने के बजाय, लाइन लगा के फ़ोन जमा करने के बजाय आप ऑनलाइन जमा कर सकते हैं अगर आप उससे परिचित हैं। इसी प्रकार से फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी है, आप अपना पैसा कहाँ इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा भी पैसा आपके पास है, कौन सी चीज़ आप परचेज कर सकते हैं सही दाम पे, कहाँ मिल सकती है अपनी चॉइस के हिसाब से। तो इतना लिटरेसी अगर आज के ज़माने में बहुत ज़रूरी है। 21st सेंचुरी की जो क्रिटिकल स्किल्स हैं, लाइफ स्किल्स हैं, विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग दोज स्किल्स, विदाउट मेकिंग योर सेल्फ अवेयर अबाउट दोज स्किल्स, लर्निंग दोज स्किल्स, वी कैन नॉट बी कॉल्ड लिटरेट। तो ये दैट्स वाई द डेफिनेशन ऑफ लिटरेसी हैज़ बीन एक्सपांडेड टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ सर्वाइविंग स्ट्रेटेजीज एंड स्किल्स, दोज आर बीन इम्पोर्टेंट टुडे। बिना इसके आप चल नहीं सकते। आपको टिकट बुक करना है, कहीं जाना है, और फ्लाइट पे जाना है, कहीं जाना है, तो मैसेज आता है, कुछ आता है, तो आप उसको नहीं अगर ऑपरेट कर सकते। तो हम पढ़े लिखे भी हैं, अगर हम अपने टेक्नोलॉजी से आजकल नहीं जुड़े हुए हैं, तो पढ़ने लिखने के बाद भी हम यूज नहीं कर पाते। तो उसमें भी बहुत ज़रूरी है कि वी हैव टू बी लिटरेट, और हमको इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में एक दूसरे को बताना है, जानना है। तो दैट वे वी कैन कनेक्ट अवर सेल्फ with others, and we can be called illiterate, and we should try to help others also if we know all this. So I wish this conference a big success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your nuggets of wisdom. Next, we are honored to have with us Ms. Joyce Pone, Chief of Education Sector at UNESCO's Regional Office for South Asia. I request her to share her remarks.
Good afternoon. Mr. Sanjay Kumar, Secretary of Department of School Education and Literacy from the Ministry of Education. Ms. Archana Awasti, Joint Secretary, Department of School Education and Literacy. As well as Director NCERT, Mr. Saklani, distinguished officials, ladies and gentlemen, both here in New Delhi and those joining us online. Namaste, good afternoon to you all. It gives me great pleasure to address this gathering as we begin the celebrations for the 2024 International Literacy Day with its theme of promoting multilingual education, literacy for mutual understanding and peace. On behalf of UNESCO, we are very honored to partner with the Department of School Education and Literacy, the Ministry of Education of the Government of India, for this two-day event, which starts from today's international seminar on the theme of Spectrum of Literacy, or Saksharta Kai Ayam. Each year on 8 September, UNESCO celebrates International Literacy Day to advocate for the development and values of literacy for all individuals. At the same time, the celebration of this day serves as a reminder that some 254 million adults are still deprived of basic literacy skills. Globally, 40% of the population still does not have access to education in a language that they can understand or speak. And some 250 million children and young people still do not attend school. These alarming numbers negate the progress that we've had towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, notably 4.3, on eliminating all forms of discrimination in education, SDG 4.7 on gender equality and inclusion, and SDG 4.7 on education for sustainable development and global citizenship education. With only 6 years to go to realize all of the sustainable development targets and commitments, we need to work together to ensure that students and learners can fully realize their fundamental human right to receive quality education that they can understand, and the ability to read, write, and use languages to reach one's full potential. UNESCO acknowledges that globally, the importance of languages in education, policies in general, and multilingual education in particular has been discussed in several high-level meetings on education, including the Jomtien World Declaration on Education for All in 1990, the Incheon Declaration and Framework for Action in 2015, and the United Nations General Assembly's challenge to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, which is encapsulated in SDG 4. To foster thriving multilingual education, we need robust policy support, advocacy, and innovation, including adopting policies that promote mother language education from early childhood. This is seen already in diverse countries such as Ghana, Peru, Singapore, and South Africa. It also involves recruiting and training teachers and community members who are competent in learners' mother tongues, as well as to explore innovative solutions such as partnerships with digital platforms to meet diverse language needs. UNESCO appreciates the efforts of the Ministry of Education of India in acknowledging the value of multilingualism by placing it at the heart of school education and in the National Education Policy 2020, NEP, and to promote and embrace linguistic diversity in educational settings. India's 2020 National Education Policy is indeed a far-sighted document which advocates education in one's mother tongue right from primary school level. There is ample evidence that shows learners who receive education in their mother tongue perform significantly better than those taught in a second or third language, as mother tongue-based education contributes to improved cognitive skills, higher retention rates, and academic outcomes. Moreover, proficiency in more than one language is a prerequisite to decent work for the individual and for the economic growth of the nation. Language and learning are linked. Another significant initiative towards promotion of quality literacy and life learning in the country, as Joint Secretary Awasi presented earlier, is indeed ULLAS. Through this scheme and through the generous contribution of volunteers, adults aged 15 and above who've not had the opportunity to receive education now have the chance to acquire reading, writing, and numeracy skills. And one such success stories is the administrative unit of Ladakh, which has attained 97% literacy rates and which Secretary Kumar visited just this couple of months ago in June. India has indeed seen significant progress towards literacy in the last few decades, but I'm also aware that recently the country has developed a new definition of literacy, which will have an impact in counting the percentage and the number of literates. We look forward to this development. Through the celebration of International Literacy Day, UNESCO calls on all actors in the field of education and beyond to rethink the role and to redesign the spectrum of literacy. This is exactly what Director Sakrani has just mentioned earlier. I hope today's event with our national and international experts will provide a dynamic space for reflection and dialogue on the contexts, the challenges, the strategies for the promotion and for promoting and fostering literacy and multilingualism for inclusion in education. I leave you with a final thought, which is it's important to understand that multilingualism and multicultural learners and societies exist through their languages, which transmit and preserve traditional knowledge and cultures in a sustainable way. Thus, it becomes imperative for us all to protect the beautiful languages that we have, not only in this country, but around the world, in order to build a future of mutual understanding and peace. Thank you very much, and bahut dhanyabad.
Thank you so much, Madam. It is now time for the keynote address by our esteemed chief guest, Shri Sanjay Kumar Sir, Secretary, Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education. Shri Sanjay Kumar Sir has been instrumental in driving various national educational reforms, and under his leadership, the ULLAS Nav Bharat Saksharta Karikram has made tremendous progress in enhancing literacy across India. We are privileged to have him with us today, and we welcome you, sir.
Thank you. For this International Literacy Symposium. Dr. Saklani, who is here, Director of NCERT, Srimati Archana Sharma, our Joint Secretary who takes and looks after ULLAS, this very, very unique scheme which is designed to make India fully literate. Ms. Joyce Poon, from Head of Education, UNESCO Delhi. I see esteemed colleagues. I see M.K. Sundaram, who is Principal Secretary of Education in the state of Uttar Pradesh, Member Secretary of NCTE, Kesang, all our colleagues who have joined us via virtual conferencing from different parts of the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great occasion. Tomorrow is 8th September and it is International Literacy Day. And I just realized that the International Literacy Day is almost as old as I am. The UNESCO took this decision in 1966, and 1967 was the first year when the International Literacy Day was celebrated. And on the eve of the International Literacy Day, we are having this international conference, and the theme of the conference is the spectrum of literacy. Now, I think the spectrum of literacy is a little too broad, because over the years what has happened is the definition of literacy itself has undergone changes. As times have progressed, as the demand of knowledge has dawned on us, and as technology has progressed, we need to define literacy differently. And now it spans across foundational literacy and numeracy, then we have also integrated critical life skills like digital, financial, and legal literacy. We speak about vocational training, continuing education. So I think basic thing is that literacy should be able to help you to navigate through life. You know, sometimes if you're watching a television or you're hearing a person who's speaking a different language, which you don't quite understand, often we say that sounds like Greek to me. But actually, if you're listening to somebody who's talking Greek, you are completely at sea, you are lost. And I often wonder that, imagine a person who does not know any language or does not understand anything. Suddenly you find that your interface with the world is gone. You see things, you hear things, but you're not able to interpret it, you're not able to understand. And I guess this is what knowing a language means. This is what it means to be able to express yourself when you write in that particular language. So it's a window to the world, it's a window to understanding, it's a window to where you relate yourself, where you place yourself with respect to the world of which we are a part. You know, in 1950, just 47 we got independence. So in the 1950, if you look at the literacy data in India, it was 18% literacy. Women were 9 and men were 27. So look at the ratio, 27 and 9. So women's literacy rate was almost 1/3. So after that, all kinds of schemes started and we started climbing up. I think much later, this ratio became a little better. Women's literacy was about 1/3 less than that of the men. But I'm very happy. I was looking at our Joint Secretary's presentation, and today I think we have managed to narrow down the gap. So between urban and rural, we find the gap is 11%, and between male and female, it's about 12%. So it's been a good catching up, and I think the day is not very far when we actually would be able to see that male and female, there's a fair amount of parity in their literacy rates. But then we need to work hard, because as you climb up on the S curve, to get the same output, the input has to increase tremendously. So what it is saying to us is that we need to work harder, and we need to work much harder. And ULLAS is basically something which is telling us under what framework we must work harder. There are two things which was brought out by our Joint Secretary in her presentation. I'm not going to repeat the other aspects of ULLAS, which was very succinctly explained by her. But two things on which forms the basis of ULLAS is voluntarism. That a society has to take a decision that, look, we need to become literate. And everyone who is part of the society, a little fortunate and is literate, should come forward and educate and make others literate. And the second part is that this voluntarism, it needs to go up. And the second part is we are using technology to reach out to people. I'm very happy that almost about 15 million persons who are illiterate, they have logged on, they have registered themselves on this app, and there are about 37 lakh volunteers who are there. So the ratio we see is 1:4. It is eminently doable. It is eminently doable, but if I have 1.5 crores, that is 15 million, I am looking at a figure of 150. That is my universe. So my universe is still very large, and we need to go further. This needs to work out. You know, if you look at last 30 or 40 years of progress of different countries, and you see which are the countries which have done well, you will see that there are countries which have done well have actually done two things. A, they have universalized education. So they have made sure that everyone has access to school, everyone goes to school, everyone gets educated. And the second portion is that they have invested in their women. And when you invest in women, women become part of the workforce. We measure it through our periodic labor force survey. Women must actually be as much of a partner in the economy as the men. And when you arrive at these two things, then you find that development becomes easier. So we need to invest more in our women. We need to make sure that more and more women get represented in our workforce. This is extremely important. This year's theme of International Literacy Day is promoting literacy through multilingualism. And the National Education Policy, it's one of the central pillars and the central component of the National Education Policy is multilingualism. It says that children learn best, or all of us learn best when we learn in our mother tongue or the Indian language, Bharatiya Bhasha. And at least till class 5 or till class 8, the mother tongue or Indian languages should be used. We are working on it, and as was brought out by the Joint Secretary and also by Dr. Saklani, that we are bringing out primers in languages which are spoken by more than 10,000 people. And as of now, we have 79 primers in 79 languages, and we need to go up to 121, Dr. Saklani. This we are hoping and we are aiming that maybe by the end of this calendar year, we will have primers in all the 121 languages. Now, this is extremely important, and I think this we must keep in our mind. Multilingualism promotes inclusivity and ensures that education is accessible and relevant to all, particularly those in rural and tribal areas. And we need to remove the language barriers. The latest survey figures points towards a literacy rate of more than 80%, as was brought out by the PLFS report of 2022-23. And it is very heartening that we are doing well and we have our aim right in front of us. I would want to thank all our eminent speakers who have joined us today from different parts of the world and are going to speak to us and share their views regarding international literacy and all its associated components. The collective expertise represented in this gathering is truly remarkable. And we have different kind of people, educationists, policymakers, and professors who are coming together to share with us their unique perspective, rich in experience and insight, which will undoubtedly enrich our discussions and contribute to our shared goal of advancing literacy worldwide. From an academic purview, the upcoming sessions will add to the rigor with which research should be encouraged and carried on to further the cause of literacy and maximize the impact on global society. As we move forward, it is crucial to recognize that literacy should not be a mere educational target, but rather a transformative tool that shapes lives, societies, and futures. However, for literacy to become a powerful force of change, we must carefully negotiate with the strategies and frameworks that underpin our efforts. This means understanding the diverse requirements of various communities, adapting our methods to address local challenges, and ensure that our initiatives are inclusive and sustainable. It's a well-known fact that most people who are poor are also happen to be illiterate. So access, reaching out to them becomes a challenge for all of us. And I think this is one thing which we must do as a society. And 2030 beckons us. It's just about 5 to 6 years ahead of us, but I'm absolutely sure that the way ULLAS has begun, the way it has captured the imagination, and as it has set a discourse in public and people are talking about literacy, and I saw such heartening human stories, and we saw that. And I still remember the face of an old lady from Satara in Maharashtra, and she's smiling. I wish I could show that photograph to you. And I think that photograph itself makes it worthwhile to do this effort. So on this very, very happy note, I once again welcome all of you to this International Symposium on Literacy. And I do hope that with our resolve, with the sense of duty, the usage of technology, and inculcating the spirit of volunteerism, especially amongst our youth, by 2030, we will be in a position to say that whole of India, as per the definition which has just been brought out before us, have become literate, opening a world of opportunity to each and every Indian. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful keynote address. Your words have always inspired us to work further for the cause and have set strong foundation for today's discussion. Thank you. Now, to conclude the inaugural session, I invite Professor Usha Sharma, in charge, NCERT, for the vote of thanks.
आप सभी को नमस्कार. Good evening to all of you. अद्य विश्व साक्षरता दिवस अस्ति. अस्मिन् शुभावसरे भवतां सर्वेषां सर्वसां च कृते नेका शुभकामना. मैं आप सभी को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय दिवस के अवसर पर आयोजित इस इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए शुभकामनाएं देती हूं. मंचस्थ परम आदरणीय श्री संजय जी, सचिव, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्कूल एजुकेशन एंड लिटरेसी, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, प्रोफेसर दिनेश प्रसाद सकलानी जी, डायरेक्टर NCERT, मिस अर्चना शर्मा अवस्थी जी, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्कूल एजुकेशन एंड मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, डॉक्टर प्रीति मीना, डायरेक्टर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्कूल एजुकेशन एंड लिटरेसी, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, मिस जॉय, Chief of Education Sector, UNESCO, Regional Office for South Asia, Professor Amrendra Behra ji, Joint Director, CIT NCERT, Professor Shridhar Srivastav ji, NCERT, और इस आभासी मंच से जुड़े हुए जितने भी हमारे शिक्षाविद एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, उन्हें भी मैं अपना आदाब कहती हूँ और आपका सभी का अभिनंदन करती हूँ. The theme of today's international conference is Spectrum of Literacy, and the theme of International Day is promoting literacy through multilingualism. Multilingualism, language, learning are closely associated, and Ms. Pause has correctly said that learning and language are closely associated, are linked. जब कभी भी बात आती है लैंग्वेज की, भाषा की, तो मुझे याद आती है अपना अस्तित्व, अपनी आइडेंटिटी, अपनी एग्जिस्टेंस. एंड एवरी लैंग्वेज हैज इट्स ओन कल्चर एंड एवरी कल्चर हैज इट्स ओन लैंग्वेज. अगर अपने कल्चर को बचाना है तो अपनी लैंग्वेज को बचाना होगा. ये एक बहुत बड़ा मैसेज है इंटरनेशनल लिटरेसी डे का, जो कहता है कि मल्टीलिंगुअलिज्म के थ्रू हमको लिटरेसी को प्रमोट करना है, लेकिन अपनी आइडेंटिटी को भी प्रमोट करना है, उसकी एग्जिस्टेंस को भी बचा कर रखना है, उसे भी संभाल कर रखना है. इस ऑस्पिशियस डे पर मैं आप सभी का बहुत धन्यवाद करती हूँ कि आपने इतना कीमती समय निकाला और अपने जो न्यू आइडियाज़ हैं, अपने जो थॉट्स हैं, अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, वो हम सभी के साथ साझा किए हैं. और मैं एक बार तहे दिल से मंचस्थ सभी विद्वानों का भी हार्दिक अभिनंदन करती हूँ. इस सभागार में उपस्थित जो अलग अलग राज्यों से आए हुए हमारे लर्नर्स हैं, वॉलंटियर टीचर्स हैं और न्यू लिटरेट्स हैं और स्टेट ऑफिशियल्स हैं, मैं उन सब का भी हार्दिक धन्यवाद करती हूँ यहाँ आने के लिए. आप यकीन मानिए, आपकी वजह से ही हम इस अपने टारगेट को अचीव करेंगे, और ये टारगेट है 2030 तक पूर्ण साक्षर भारत. ये ड्रीम कोई बहुत डिफिकल्ट ड्रीम नहीं है. 140 करोड़ से ज़्यादा की जनसंख्या है और जो नॉन लिटरेट लर्नर्स हैं उनकी संख्या बहुत कम है. तो उस मुकाबले को देखा जाए तो वॉलंटियर बेसिस के थ्रू हम इस टारगेट को अचीव कर सकते हैं, अपने इस ड्रीम को साकार कर सकते हैं. तो एनसीईआरटी के बिहाफ पर, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन के बिहाफ पर मैं आप सभी का एक बार हार्दिक अभिनंदन करती हूँ, स्वागत करती हूँ. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With this, we reach the end of our inaugural session. So now, I call upon Ms. Yachna. Second session we have to start, na? In second one. Some speakers will be invited. Yes, yes. Okay.
बैठ जाए. हम आगे के कार्यक्रम को शुरू करने जा रहे हैं. तो अब हमारा कार्यक्रम हमारे पैनल सेशन की ओर बढ़ेगा, जिसमें हमारा सेशन 1 लिया जाएगा, जिसके चेयर होंगे प्रोफेसर अमरेंद्र बेहरा जी, जॉइंट डायरेक्टर CIET. सर कृपया मंच पर आए. हाँ, उनके साथ ही हमारे कुछ और सेशन 1 के जो पैनल डिस्कशन के साथी होंगे, उनको भी मैं मंच पर बुलाना चाहूंगी. तेज सिंह पालडन, डायरेक्टर स्कूल एजुकेशन लद्दाख. सर प्लीज स्टेज पर आए. सर हमारे साथ ऑनलाइन जुड़े हैं, तो उनको भी हमारे स्क्रीन पर अगर आप ला पाए. हमारे साथ उड़ीसा से वॉलंटियर टीचर जुड़ रहे हैं, कृपया स्टेज पर आए. मैं मंच पर बुलाना चाहूंगी मिस किसांगवाई शेरपा मैम, IRS member secretary NCTE. Ma'am, please come to the stage and join us. हमारे साथ प्रोफेसर जयप्रकाश दुबे जी, डायरेक्टर दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ जर्नलिज्म एंड प्रोफेसर DA CEE यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली भी हैं. सर प्लीज मंच पर आए और हमारे साथ इस कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाएं. जेडी सर प्लीज आप मंच पर आए, आप इस सेशन को चेयर करेंगे. अमरेंद्र सर. थैंक यू सर. तो हमारे पहले सेशन की शुरुआत हम करने जा रहे हैं. हमारे साथ एक और साथी इस मंच पर जुड़ने वाले हैं, यूपी से श्री शंभुगा सुंदरम सर, एजुकेशन सेक्रेटरी. प्लीज आप मंच पर आए.
आइए, चेयर है.
थैंक यू सर. तो पहले सेशन की शुरुआत करती हूँ और इस सेशन को चेयर करने के लिए हमारे साथ अमरेंद्र बेहरा सर, जॉइंट डायरेक्टर CIET है. सर ओवर टू यू.
Very good afternoon, namaskar to all of you. First of all, my greetings on the International Literacy Day to all of you. Esteemed Secretary Sir, Sri Sanjay Kumar ji, Secretary Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education. Respected Professor Saklani ji, Director NCERT. Respected Madam Archana Avasthi ji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Distinguished panelists, starting from Madam Kesang ji, who is the Member Secretary, NCT, Government of India, and also Sundaran ji, who is the Principal Secretary, Education, Government of Uttar Pradesh, also he is here, and also respected Professor Jaiprakash Dubey ji, who is from the Department of Adult and Continuing Education and Extension from University of Delhi, and distinguished colleagues from UNESCO and other distinguished colleagues who have joined from states, union territories, and my colleagues from NCERT. I take this opportunity to welcome all the panelists to this session, and we'll have brief presentation from each of the panelists. The time is also specified, and maybe 5 to 7 minutes or 8 minutes, 5 minutes. We can have the presentation from each panelist, and then after the presentation, we'll open it for a couple of questions if time permits. Otherwise, we'll have concluding session. As all of us, we are aware, we have already, the context has been set through the inaugural address by the dignitaries and also different people from ministry and also from NCERT. And I think I should request Madam Kesang ji to please go ahead with the presentation. So ma'am, you have 5 minutes, maybe, yeah, it will be there, it is there.
Invite our first speaker, who is connected online, T. Paulden, Director, School Education, UT of Ladakh.
Where is the SPT?
We are expecting him soon. He's not here right now. So we invite Kesang Sharpa ma'am, Member Secretary, NCTE, New Delhi, to speak.
Knowledge is power, information is liberating, education is the premise of progress in every society, in every family. Shri Sanjay Kumar sir, Professor Saklani sir, Srimati Archana Awasthi ji, Amrinder Bera ji, my panelists on the dais, and all of you who have joined us today in this hall as well as online. First of all, I must say that ULLAS is really an empowering initiative of the Government of India, and definitely the Ministry of Education, led by Shri Sanjay Kumar sir and my colleague Archana Awasthi ji, is doing yeoman service, because literacy is the need of the hour, and education is a very empowering tool to achieve that goal. As far as NCT is concerned, let me tell you that the National Council for Teacher Education is the premier body which deals with the coordination of teacher education across the country. We are the statutory body that gives recognition to various teacher education institutions to run courses like the B.Ed, M.Ed, and recently the NEP-aligned Integrated Teacher Education Program. It is a 4-year dual major degree. Archana Awasthi ji has already told you that NCT has taken proactive steps to ensure that the NILP, and now popularly known as ULLAS, has been implemented in letter and spirit by NCTE. We have already issued a directive to all our teacher education institutions, and let me tell you, we are very uniquely positioned to contribute to ULLAS, because we have about 16,000 teacher education institutions across the country with an intake of about 18 lakh students. So we are uniquely positioned to contribute to ULLAS. We have told the teacher education institutions that during the course, at least 4 to 5 volunteer students should take at least 4 to 5 illiterates who can be part of this ULLAS. We have also told the institutions that credits should be given in the course to all these volunteer students, certificates should be issued to them so that, the volunteer students are actively participating. We understand, and this is all to commence from this academic session, that is 24-25, and our courses, especially the ITEP, is geared to teach children, to teach all the students pedagogy and do research. But we also understand that community service is a very, very important thing as far as education is concerned. So in this our latest program, which is the ITEP, the 4-year course, in the 8th semester, we have given 2 credits for community service. And in that, we have made various initiatives, and one of them is ULLAS, as compulsorily to be undertaken by the students during their course. This is as far as our institutions are concerned. Since we are dealing with teachers, and like they were saying that the reach is very important in the country. So in every little village also you will find at least one teacher. So since we are also working on the capacity building and the professional development of teachers through 2 of our other initiatives, that is the National Professional Stand for Teachers and also the National Mission for Mentoring. So through these 2 initiatives, we want to sensitize and let the teachers know about what is ULLAS and what are the objectives of ULLAS. So we are having a lot of outreach programs. So in this, we will be also sensitizing them about ULLAS. As far as the mentoring mission is concerned, what I can see is that because mentoring mission is for mentoring of teachers, and since they are at that point where they can sensitize other people to volunteer for this course, because like our Secretary Sir said, this is totally a volunteering activity, a philanthropic activity. So therefore, in the National Mentoring Mission, if the ministry wants, we can have a domain related to ULLAS where we can sensitize the teachers about what is ULLAS, what is expected of them. So this can be done. So this is what I would like to say as far as NCT can do. We really, really appreciate this effort of the Ministry of Education and the Government of India. And we are very, very keen to participate in this ULLAS initiative of yours for the betterment of the country. And I just want to end with one quote, which I feel is, really is what ULLAS is about. Sometimes the dreams that come true are the dreams you never even knew you had. So I think that sums up ULLAS. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, Kesangji, for being well on time and also highlighting how the pre-service teacher education program through integrated teacher education program and also 2 in-service initiatives, how NPST and National Mentoring Mission can help in propagating the ULLAS mission and also take forward the national literacy program so that we cover the stakeholders in a time-bound manner. Thank you very much once again. With these words, I now request Dr. M.K. Shanmuga Sundaramji, who is IAS and Principal Secretary, Government of Uttar Pradesh in the Department of Basic Education. Sir, you have rich experience from the state, and Uttar Pradesh is a big state. I think equivalent to America population and all.
Okay.
So how,
I thought size
you from Uttar Pradesh experience, so you are helping to scale up the literacy through last.
And thank you so much for your kind words.
Yeah, thank you.
Our distinguished Secretary Sanjay Kumar Sir, Chief of Education Sector, UNESCO, Ms. Joyce Pone, Professor Dinesh Prasad Saklaniji, Director NCERT, Srimati Archana Sharma Awasthiji, Joint Secretary in the Department, Srimati Preetiji, Director in the Department, and sitting beside me, Dr. Amarendra Prasad Behraji, and all those distinguished guests and participants who have come from across the country. First of all, very good evening to all of you. I take this opportunity to wish you all a great International Literacy Day tomorrow. So on the eve of this conference has been organized with the theme of Spectrum of Literacy. The spectrum itself says about the range of things literacy has. One is, we call it as functional literacy, we call it as financial literacy, legal literacy, digital literacy, and probably tomorrow we will be talking about AI literacy also. So from basic literacy, we moved on to very many things, very range of things. I think that represents this spectrum. So having said that, the basic literacy is still found wanting. So our country, the data which our Joint Secretary Ma'am has given a short while ago, the literacy rate has three kinds of disparities. The one is the disparity between the rural and urban. The rural, there is a 11% difference is there. And there is a gender disparity between men and women. Of course, the women are catching up, and definitely so, and it should be. So whichever country you say that it is a developed country or which is progressing in a rapid manner, if you look at this, the correlation is between the literacy and the development. So it goes hand in hand. And the third is the state-to-state disparity. We can call it as regional disparity too. There are certain states which have, which are being the front runners in literacy point of view, but certain states or laggards are lagging behind. So these states have to catch up with the states which are the front runners. So in UP, what we are doing, we had a very elaborate review meeting. You are the witness and evidence sitting here, our deputy director. So we have taken up different efforts. So one of them, the foremost of them, which we are thinking that which may be correct, is that each of our student, those who are studying, each of our children, those who are studying from 6th standard onwards up to 12th, we can give exception to 10th and 12th because they are very busy with their, they are very busy. I think probably they are all, nowadays those students are studying in class 10th and class 12th are busier than the secretary of any department. So that much busy schedule, tuitions, classes, so many other things. The ambitions are high. So because of which they are absolutely busy. So bearing them, the other students from 6th standard onwards, we are thinking of motivating them to make at least 1% literate in the society, in the village, in the town. At least 1% in 1 year, one student can make 1% literate. That will be a big achievement. For them, we can give certain awards. We can give a certificate very neatly and nicely prepared, which can be given to them so that it will motivate them. Even we can think of giving certain academic credentials for those students. So that is one thing. So the literacy can, just like that we say, charity begins at home. Literacy can also begin at home. There are a lot of rural households where the children are studying, but at the same time, the parents are illiterates. Still now, if you go to any rural hinterland, it is a reality in the country. So we have to, we can formulate like this. And secondly, our captive audiences, those who are illiterate captive audience, those who are in the jails, those who, the construction workers at the construction sites, these kind of captive audience we have to find out, and they have to be made literate. And thirdly, we have to make the participation of certain organizations like Rotary Club, Lions Club, such clubs. They can also become stakeholders or participants or partners in this development of literacy. This is very important. So when we talk about digital literacy or even AI literacy tomorrow, but however, without basic literacy, we cannot go to that level. So at least a person has to be able to read newspapers, at least go to the bank confidently and do operations. And whatever way, these simple, small ways, the society, the things are spread out in the society, the person has to do. So for that, literacy is a very important and key component. And these things are very, very important. We have to dispel the disparities, which is between rural and urban, between men and women, between region to region, state to state. These disparities are to be dispelled. So then only we can go forward. And with this, along with all this concept, there is a concept of youth literacy. The youth literacy covers from the age of 14 till 25, if I am not wrong. This group, we are very good. India is having 92% of youth literacy. I think if we achieve 95% in another 1 or 2 or 3 years, definitely 95% is 100%, isn't it? So because of which we can proudly say that our entire youth, the population of youth is fully literate. So this thing we can do immediately with certain efforts. And secondly, involving our school students, let them teach their dada dadis, nana nanis, or even their parents, so literacy also begins at home. This can be experimented. Not only that, every student should be given a task of at least making one person in the society, in the village, in the town, wherever they are literate. So these are the simple to certain complex efforts so that which can propel India to become literate in quick time, maybe by 2030, maybe at least by 2035, not waiting for the tune of 2047. So with this, I conclude my remarks. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sundaramji, for highlighting. बाद में क्वेश्चन आंसर में आ जाएंगे. Actually, thank you very much for highlighting some of the activities, programs, schemes undergoing in the state of Uttar Pradesh, including student participation from schools and colleges, including involvement of Rotary clubs in literacy activities, and also how youth can be there, literacy can be promoted through all these activities. So thank you very much once again. And now I request Dr. Professor J.P. Dubeji, who is from the Faculty of Adult and Continuing Education from University of Delhi. Sir, similarly, Delhi University is one of the biggest university structure if we see, and we have a large number of student population also. So how we are, particularly as far as literacy campaign is concerned and this ULLAS initiative is concerned, how the university is taking up, gearing up the students' participation in this whole activity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Chair, Sri Sanjay Kumar ji, Secretary, Government of India, Joint Secretary Archana ma'am, Professor Dinesh Saklani ji, Preeti ji, and honorable panelists. Of all the stakeholders, I am the smallest one. I represent a group of people, those who are engaged in a very small set of educational program, that is higher education system. Very marginal player basically. They have been earning their names because of the other reasons, not because of their size and impact. But I don't want to respond right now. Sir, we all know that literacy has been globally recognized as a key input of intervention for the two regions. One, once we made people link with the alphabetical literacy, de-recognizing what Professor Saklani was saying, that everybody was knowing something, but they were recognized as such as illiterate population. Whole lot of people became illiterate in the eyes of modern definitions propounded by us. And that led us to believe in head count literacy. We all have been working for head count literacy for all 60, 70 years basically. There was no harm in it because these changes are part of our whole cyclic movement. Because our leadership from UNESCO also advocated the same thing, but somehow the Indian population continued with their link with the oral traditions. In spite of being illiterate in the eyes of the world, we continued to be productive in the society for a very long time. Not everybody, those who were illiterate, they died out of hunger. They died because they were poor, illiterate. They died because of some other reasons. People took their potato, rice and everything to Britain. They died because of this only. Now, since it is recognized as a key input of intervention, we appreciate that whatever work has been done so far is now finding place in ULLAS. Because Earlier, all the initiatives of literacy lacked their continuity. The language component which is being discussed, fortunately, that multilingualism is one such initiative which needs to be made part of it. Academicians have been talking for a long time, in 86, 87, 88, every time we talked about that language is core. Language is such a core that even in a program which flowed out of these experiments, some smaller experiments, in which a program of journalism was launched as a 5-year integrated program of journalism, in which language was made a core component. Each student has to learn at least one more language. So all 70, 80, 100 students were learning more than one language, other than the Hindi English. That was the integration part. Literacy needed that continuity, that once you are becoming literate, you need to be moving further. All 5 components of ULLAS are fortunately falling into that category. This is what sometimes back a political scientist in 84 proposed, that what do we need to do in public policy? Public policy is a public good only if it is flowing from 3-4 things. One was that you initiate something which is based on a well thought out plan. ULLAS is a well thought out plan for 2 reasons. One, I talked about that it provides continuity, it provides multilingual space, and third, it proposes to take care of the people, those who are becoming part of literate society. That you will be moving from reflexes, reflective actions, and you will be moving to the further, which is known as being productive in the society, which you name them as a human resource development. Based on these premises, I believe the first component which is being taken care of at the moment, foundational literacy, is going to be creating a huge work for you. It's a very big work because people have learned headcount literacy in last so many years. They have experienced that it doesn't pay them. It pays only when you move to the other level, when you become part of the literate society, when you become vocationally educated, when your education is recognized. NEP provides that framework. ULLAS has to integrate that framework into its own functioning. And that is why I'm saying by massively moving, taking literacy from 74% to 88% and now 95%, will create a huge problem for us. We need to be careful that. But the good thing is this, the way the country has used digital technology. If I'm exceeding my time limit, I will be concluding by saying that this digital world has provided us a space. And that is how we are able to reach more than one person. The cost has come down. Earlier, during 80s, 90s, the only story about adult education was that in environment building, 70 rupees were spent, on learners 15 rupees were spent. At least that problem is not going to be there. That way, the blending of the technology, integrating of the technology is going to help us substantially and will be part of it. I believe we do not hesitate in being associated with this. Tomorrow, 100 students are going to attend the International Literacy Day program of journalism. They are all willing to be part of it, provided they need continuity, because they want to see it, that whatever they have done, it is moving, and let it move. Thank you. Sorry, sir, I exceeded, but I tried to be Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dubey, indeed, for highlighting the vision of ULLAS and how Government of India, based on the policy direction we are moving, and how we can also embed a technology together and reach to the goal. We have a couple of minutes more. There was one expression of interest by Sambhu Bhan Singh ji, but we'll get back. So I once again thank the whole panelists for being with us and sharing their views. To conclude, I must say that the NEP 2020 goals and the SDG goal 4 particularly. So we need to address it in a time-bound manner, and 20% number in India is also not less, and we need to have means convergence of all programs, policies, schemes and actions, activities together, and also not only the programs but also the stakeholders, whether it is corporate, government, CSR, even startups, volunteers, school students, college students, even other adult volunteers. So we need to take them together along and have a public movement like Jan Bhagidari. The government also provides for that, so that we reach out to all stakeholders in a time-bound manner, and if 15% scaling we do in a time-bound manner, they are close to our target. So that is one. I recall two things, particularly the Digital India campaign 2015 when it was launched, Honorable PM, because the Digital India campaign had three major visions. One is having basic minimum IT infrastructure in the field and delivery of all services through portal and app. And the last not least is digital literacy of all citizens, so that the services can be delivered. So that is one. And also I remember my university days, the education department and psychology department in Punjab University, they used to go for literacy campaign monitoring in nearby satellite villages in Chandigarh, like Khuda, Lahoda and Jirakpur and all. So the department put us in monitoring of literacy campaign, but we were not knowing how to read and write Punjabi. So we first demanded that we should be taught how to write Ada Uda, ताकि माड़ी मोटी पंजाबी सीख जाए और सेंटर मॉनिटर करे. तो similarly also we need to train through the ULLAS mission by consolidated efforts by all of us to our youth, to university students, college students and school students, to take it as a public movement and achieve it in a time-bound manner. And I was talking about the Digital India campaign because the Honorable PM, when the Digital India campaign was launched, he mentioned that India has scale, because when we are talking about 140 crore population, so we have scale. When we are talking about 15 lakh schools, we have scale. So when we are talking about 90 plus lakh teachers, we have scale. So in that case, how skill, scale and speed together can be achieved by use and integration of technology. So similarly, by implementing the ULLAS initiative in the whole country is $1 million question. So let us join together and make it a difference in a time-bound manner. I take this opportunity on behalf of NCERT and on behalf of Ministry of Education. I thank the three panelists for highlighting certain issues and challenges and how we can take forward. So thank you very much, one and all, and thanks for the opportunity for me to interact with all of you. Thank you. Namaskar.
We will now begin session 3. Please be seated. I request all to be seated. So now, working.
Only one speaker is online.
Mic is not working? Yes, working. We will now begin session 3, to be chaired by Professor T.G. Sitharaman, Chairman, AICTE, New Delhi. Sir is connected online. I request Professor Sitharaman to chair the session and lead the discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very good evening to all of you. All the distinguished guests who are assembled at NCERT, and all my international speakers or the panelists for the session 2 today. First of all, let me wish everybody International Literacy Day, which is going to be happening tomorrow, that is 8th of September. So the theme of this session is promoting multilingual education, literacy for mutual understanding and peace. For my international panelists, I would like to start with greetings in their language, Shalom in Hebrew, Bonjour, French, Guten Tag, my German colleagues. And in India, we have large number of languages. Let me say some of them at least, for you to get into the discussion. Namaste in Hindi, Namaskaram in Tamil, Namaskaram in Telugu, Namaskara in Kannada, Namaskar Bengali, Namaste Gujarati, goes on. Friends, yesterday, or day before yesterday, we celebrated the Teachers' Day. So happy greetings to all the teachers. And today is a very auspicious day in India. We have celebrated the Ganesh Chaturthi today, which is the god of wisdom and knowledge. So on this occasion, we are discussing the International Literacy Day's activities, and very important day. And also I have a very distinguished speakers from UNESCO, and also from University of Haifa from Israel, University of Hamburg from Germany, New Zealand, and also we have representative from Paris, and then Dr. P.T. Meena, Director, Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education is also going to briefly give. So we have basically 7 speakers, 6 speakers other than me. And so we have already, we are late. So I request everybody to take about 6 minutes. And then, we can, if you have any specific questions, we can take. So friends, there is a pressing need to harness the transformative potential of literacy for promoting mutual understanding, social cohesion, and peace in today's world, in which multilingualism is a common practice for many. Empowering people by adopting first language-based multilingual approach to literacy development and education is particularly effective for its cognitive, pedagogical, and socio-economic benefits. Such an approach can help promote mutual understanding and respect while solidifying communal identities and collective histories. So International Literacy Day 2024 will unpack issues related to literacy in multilingual contexts for achieving lasting peace, and will explore possible solutions for enhancing policies. Before handing over to each panelist, but I would like to just briefly tell about being the chairman of All India Council for Technical Education. AICTE is a regulator for professional and technical programs in India. So we are the largest, number of programs offering in engineering, management, and other subjects which are professional courses. So we have also started the courses in engineering for the first time in India in mother languages. So far, about 95 institutions are offering engineering and diploma programs in mother tongue. So that's a very unique for India, because majority of our engineering programs are in English. So, but today, I'm very happy to tell you some of these programs are catching up and becoming popular. And in another area we have done a lot of work is as a facilitator AICT has developed textbooks in 13 different languages. We made this, all through the outcome-based education. So all of these books are available free of cost on our portal, e-Kumbh portal at AICTE. So these books are already ready in 13 different languages for first year and second year of diploma programs in civil engineering, mechanical, electrical, computer science, and other disciplines, as well as in engineering as well. The first and second year engineering books are already ready and loaded on the e-Kumbh portal. It's available. And the third and fourth year books are being ready. In addition to that, we have also developed a very innovative artificial intelligence deep learning tool called Anuvadini. So this actually can translate in real time, so both in text and also audio and many other things. The very unique software which we have developed at AICTE, which is being used to translate, many governmental initiatives, as well as, most of the courts are also started using now to deliver the verdicts in their mother tongue. And similarly, this approach is also being used in higher education effectively. So this Anuvadini, we have also created a Section 8 company, which has become the Government of Ministry of Education in Government of India. So this, any of the people who would like to use the Anuvadini, we can approach AICTE for their help. So there are a lot of other initiatives AICTE is taking up with popularizing, and many of our colleges, we have 14,000 institutions across the country, and all of them are participating in literacy. So our colleges, our volunteerism is also very popular in our institutions. So literacy extends beyond the ability to read and write. That's where AICTE is making an attempt to even improve the digital literacy. And here we are also looking at a lot of skills also. So that's where, because engineering and programs are all skill-based, so it encompasses a wide range of skills, including digital literacy, financial literacy, media literacy, and health literacy. So in the 21st century, being literate means having the skills to navigate complex information landscapes, make informed decisions, and participate fully in society. So on this day, I would want to emphasize that literacy is a powerful tool for social inclusion, gender equality, and economic empowerment. So you can see that is happening in school education extensively in India. So we were able to, since 1947, we are able to up the number of school-going children or the literates available. If you look at the data, literacy rate in India, when 1947 was about 12%. Today, you saw in the first session, clearly it is touching close to 80%. And particularly if you look at the male population, it is almost 93%. So we are having a goal by 2030 to achieve 100% literacy. So also, in an increasingly digital world, digital literacy is also crucial. So coming from technology background, I would like to say that accessing information, communication, and participating in the digital economy is also critical for, that's where India has done exceedingly well. So if you look at the mobile penetrations in India, and even in the nook and corner of the country, even an illiterate, called to be so-called illiterate person actually transacts using a UPI. So we are the largest UPI transaction country in the world. So almost like 45% of the UPI transactions, the financial transactions happen through the online portal. So majority of our rural illiterate called people also could use today the mobile, and digital divide is reduced in India. We have created actually phenomenal digital public goods in the last 10-15 years. So that's a big, the message to the world to see how the digital literacy can be utilized and made popularized. So in this, financial literacy enables also, that's another important activity which India has done exceedingly well. Individuals to make informed decisions on managing money. Today, majority of them have a Jan Dhan account and the banking, so they know about their savings, investments, and understanding economic principles. Coming to the health literacy, on the other hand, empowers individuals to make better health decisions. You could see the average age of human beings in India is health, considering health is also increasing. So health decisions is also very important to understand medical information and access healthcare services effectively. Schools, colleges, and universities are also now participating in all this kind of spreading the literacy in every corner of the country. So I would like to appeal to everybody to adopt the curricula to incorporate multiple literacies. That's very, very important. This includes integrating digital tools, fostering critical thinking, and teaching students how to access, analyze, and use of information responsibility across various platforms. In this National Education Policy of 2020 of Government of India, it is really, we have celebrated 4 years already completed. 4th year celebration has happened on 29 July, and we could very confidently say that NEP has played a major role in fulfilling the dreams of our people. So on this International Day, it's essential to highlight global efforts and partnerships that promote literacy, such as UNESCO's initiative to close the literacy gap. Collaboration between government, NGOs, and private sectors are very crucial in scaling literacy programs that address diverse learning needs. So after saying this, I would offer that many of these digital schools, digital literacy, India is ahead in the curve. Particularly, we have the largest books platform for Swayam or Swayam Plus for different skillings. We have a National Education Alliance for Technology, and also Ministry of Skilling and Entrepreneurship. MSDE has also developed a digital skills platform. All of this actually would be, we are ready to share and successes with all of our Global South team members as well, so that we could be connecting to everyone to make this a global village in learning. So with these few remarks, I would now request my panelists to take about 6 minutes each and put their points. Then finally we will conclude. If there is a time, we'll take some questions. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
I now invite Dr. Ido Gal to take the stage, please. Professor Ido Gal from Israel. Do we have him online?
Yes, hello, I'm here.
You may please proceed, Professor.
Good afternoon. I prepared a video presentation which should be uploaded on your site. Welcome to everybody.
Welcome to you, sir. We are all waiting to hear you out.
Ma'am, he has a video presentation, it seems. Kindly upload.
Okay.
That's what he's saying.
Okay, it's there now. This is Nicholas. But that was Professor Igal.
He was live.
So we are giving him the stage first.
So he has already sent his video. It's there.
Okay.
With his
So he will be live as well as we are on video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Ido Gal from the University of Haifa in Israel. Good afternoon to everybody in New Delhi. I want to thank the organizers for asking me to speak at this conference. My talk will focus on adult numeracy. I want to briefly describe why it matters, some of the building blocks of adult numeracy and implications for adult numeracy education, which I hope will also help the new program for adult education that is launched in India. So this program is impressive, I must say. Congratulations to the Department of School Education and Literacy, a comprehensive scheme that covers many areas. I think that we need to focus specifically on adult numeracy and understand some of its uniqueness. So on the left you see the definition of adult numeracy, And I want to work with it in reverse from the bottom. We know that there are many situations in adult life that involve or contain mathematical and statistical content and present different demands that involve mathematical and statistical information. On the right side of the slide, you see 6 domains or areas of life where numeracy is required. Some of them are familiar, some of them are less familiar, and I will illustrate them later on. For example, the area of civic issues or civic statistics assumes that citizens want and need to know what's going on in their country regarding burning topics such as crime, pollution, climate change, quality of education, equality, and so on and so forth. So we assume that in all of these domains, people need to act, people need to engage with the situation, reason critically about the information, use mathematical information or quantitative information when it is available, and manage the different demands of the situation, such as how accurate to be, whether you need to be critical about something, and so on and so forth. This means that people need to have the ability, the skills and knowledge, but also the motivation, the willingness, the self-confidence, the self-efficacy in order to engage with the situation. So adult numeracy has both a cognitive and a dispositional element in this regard. So let's look at some examples quickly. So here is a situation where somebody probably did not act in a numerate way and did not do their homework around measurement. We know that numeracy is required to succeed in the business world, to understand how to open a business, how to stay afloat, how to deal with financing, insurance, understanding risks that are involved, and so on. We know that numeracy underlies management or initiating of industrial and agricultural activities, whether as a single individual or as a business, as a firm, and you need to estimate and forecast supply and demand and deal with contracts and suppliers and customers and so on and so forth. But numeracy also involves understanding information that comes to you as a consumer of information. So you face many consumer tasks where you need to read the newspaper, listen to news on television, read posts on social networks and so on, and understand information such as this article, which is about the gender pay gap and inequality, and ask yourself whether the information is meaningful to you, what does it say about society, is it biased in some way, and so on. Likewise, if you want to understand what's going on regarding climate change and how it is impacting your country or yourself as a farmer or a business owner, you need to be able to read reports, you need to be able to read newspaper articles, and they include many terms and ideas that are mathematical or statistical in nature, but do not look like what you study in school mathematics. And so there are many implications for this. Adult numeracy education is not the same as teaching school mathematics. We need to contextualize instruction. We need to take into account the interests and the needs and the practices of the learners. And we need to keep in mind that they need to be motivated to learn. Otherwise, they will leave quickly if they don't see how it serves themselves individually. We need to keep in mind the links between literacy and numeracy. They are not separate domains. They are linked in different ways. We need to aim instruction so that it develops both cognitive and dispositional aspects. And we need to pay much more attention to statistics and to risk, which underlie some of financial literacy and health literacy. And so all of this has implications for the new program that is being launched. We need to pay careful attention to the learning goals and to the need to motivate learners not only to learn now, but to come back in the future. So they need to leave the program with a positive view of themselves and of the value of numeracy in their life. We need to think of how to train volunteers, which, as I understand, will be part of the delivery scheme, because volunteers may not fully realize what is unique about adult numeracy and how it differs from school mathematics. And we need to monitor from a policy perspective the impact of the program on real-world practices, on the way people activate the numeracy in the world. Otherwise, we may not know whether the program is actually achieving the policy goals. So I will stop here. I hope that my comments were useful in some way, and I wish you lots of luck in the future with this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gal.
Hello, I'm Ido Gal from the University of Haifa in Israel. Good afternoon to everybody in New Delhi.
So ये recorded वाला stop कर दीजिए. Thank you, Professor Gaul. It was quite an interesting and intriguing perspective that you gave. I'm sure we'll utilize it in some manner to our own benefit. I would now like to play the message of Mr. Nicholas Jonas from UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, Germany. He leads UNESCO's monitoring work for lifelong learning and plays a key role in global education strategies. Kindly play his talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Nicolas Jonas, and I'm working as a leader of the Confindea cluster at the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, based in Hamburg, Germany. So today I would like to make for you a short presentation about the spectrum of literacy. So the definition of literacy changed a lot during the past years. It is important to note that now the literacy that UNESCO is using from the recommendation on adult learning and education adopted in 2015 includes a broad range of skills because it's not only about reading and writing, but more broadly it's about being able to identify, understand and use different information in different settings. If you look at the UN 2030 agenda, you can see that literacy is a cross-cutting theme, meaning that it is needed to achieve a certain level of literacy in order to tackle, to handle the most of the SDG goals. However, within the goal 4 on education, literacy has its own target, target 4.6 about universal literacy, and this target is associated with 2 indicators. The indicators FOX 1, which is not so used because very few countries are able to provide relevant data on that. It's about functional literacy and numeracy. And the indicator 4.6.2, it's about literacy rate. If we look particularly into this indicator, we can see that the world in general made a lot of progress in literacy, but many challenges still remains, with more than 700 million of adults who are lacking skills for reading and writing in their life. And it is interesting to note that for India, we are following more or less the same trends, meaning that the situation improved, but the national literacy rate is still quite, could be still improved, with in 2022 a proportion of 87% of the adult population who is considered as literate. And one of the main challenges, which is also valid for many countries, is that the literacy rate for women is very low in comparison with the main literacy rate, and specific focus has to be given to this group. What it is concerning to see that still so many people are lacking basic skills in literacy, because many studies have demonstrated that literacy plays a positive role in many aspects of life, from poverty reduction to participation in labor market, but also more broadly on health and sustainable development. This impact of literacy on many aspects of life was particularly acknowledged in the Marrakesh Framework for Action that was adopted during the 7th International Conference on Adult Education in June 2022 in Marrakesh. In that text, the MFA, adopted by 140 UNESCO member states, and which is supposed to frame the landscape of adult learning and education globally for the next decade, it is acknowledged that literacy is the foundation, is the basis for ensuring many goals of adult learning and education, from ensuring the right to lifelong learning, but also in ensuring inclusive society and in improving and strengthening citizenship, the transition for future of work and climate action. In order for literacy to really play this transformative role for most of the people, UNESCO put in place many initiatives, and I would like today just to mention one of them, which is the Global Alliance for Literacy, named GAL. GAL is hosted by my institute, UIL, and it is in fact a platform of 30 countries, including India, which are strongly committed to improving youth and adult literacy. This platform, which engage more not only member states but also different partners from private sectors, NGOs, or universities, adopted a strategy with 5 different pillars. And I would say the most important aspect of this strategy is the goal number 5 about partnership, because in this platform it's all about sharing and putting efforts together in order to fight this global challenge that is illiteracy. GAL is implementing several activities, and all these activities are discussed and agreed with GAL members. I just would like to tell a word about some of them. Currently, GAL is offering capacity building activities of member countries for improving digital competencies of adult educators. You know, of course, that this was one of the key topics that emerged from the COVID-19 crisis recently. But beyond that, GAL also contributed to creating many online trainings for educators, researchers, and learners that are available on UL Learning Hub. GAL is also organizing regular technical webinars on different aspects of policies or assessments or monitoring or pedagogical practices that could help improving literacy within the programs or within national policies. And GAL also contributed to developing tools that are useful for the fight against illiteracy, such as tools for measuring learning outcomes, or such as competency framework. So as I said, India is part of GAL, and we believe at UIL that India could even be more involved in that alliance, and because it's an opportunity for your country. First of all, it's an opportunity for sharing ideas, challenges, and resources in a South perspective, meaning that this alliance is designed by and for the GAL members in order to learn from each other and to ensure a better fight against illiteracy. Second, for India, it will be the opportunity to bring its expertise to promote literacy globally and to really play a role of global champion for the right to education. I think that many members countries have a lot to learn from India, and we at UIL used to work with Indian partners, and we saw many innovative projects that could be very useful for other members. And finally, I would say it would be also the opportunity for India to learn from other members, to get inspiration, and to improve finally adult literacy also in India and to sustain a society of knowledge. So I wish you a very nice rest of the session, and I let the floor now to my colleagues, and I hope that I can see you very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks to Mr. Jonas for contributing his idea for this conference. I would now invite the comments of Dr. Anke from the University of Hamburg, Germany to speak. He's a prominent voice in lifelong learning and vocational education and oversees Germany's national surveys on literacy. So please put him on. Dr. Anke.
Hello and good morning to New Delhi and around the world. My name is Anke Grotwisch and I'm a full professor at Hamburg University for lifelong learning. And I would like to share some information on artificial intelligence as a danger or a helpful instrument for people with low literacy skills with you. And to be very brief, I prefer to send a video note, because else I would probably talk longer than you want me to. Actually, we did a small ad hoc survey last summer, with people who used large language models, ChatGPT, and we asked them a couple of questions and then organized the answers, or split the answers between those who have more experiences with ChatGPT and those who are less experienced. This is what you see here. And one of my questions was, or I asked for statements actually, and the statement is, you somehow expect it to provide correct information. So we as users somehow expect the large language model, artificial intelligence, to provide correct information. And as you all know, it does not necessarily come up with facts, but may also come up with hallucinated information, which are invented. And you see here that less experienced people in blue are more often agree to this statement than people who have already experiences. So if you're unexperienced, you more often expect the system to provide correct information, while in fact people who have more experiences already say, okay, we are prepared that the outcome of ChatGPT prompt may not be correct information or facts. We also see that the statements differ when we ask, or when the statement is, it has already happened to me that I found invented information credible at first glance, and perhaps most of us know this experience. So we see that less experienced users more often find hallucinated information credible, and this is pretty complicated if we want less experienced people to use ChatGPT, especially when they are struggling readers or unexperienced with or have low literacy skills. The next statement was, well, I am already careful not to fall for fake news. We wanted to know whether there's a certain awareness on fake news. And you see, there's nearly no difference between experienced users and less experienced users. So all of us say, hey, wow, we do try not to fall for fake news, for disinformation, for hallucination. But, and this is the more problematic slide and the final one, I also asked, offered the statement, I don't check what comes out every single time. And now you see less experienced people, less experienced users control the results less often. So there is a certain awareness for disinformation and hallucination, but this awareness does not necessarily end up in real fact-checking habits. It needs time, it needs experience to get used to this feeling that whatever I get from ChatGPT or Google Gemini or UCOM or whatever is out there, whatever I get from them, I need to control whether the facts are reliable. And controlling often means read the small text and check the sources of the information I got. And this is most difficult for people who have low literacy skills, and it is fundamentally more difficult for them compared to average readers. These are data based on the level 1 survey we did in Germany the second time with more than 7,500 respondents. So it's a representative survey, and we can differentiate between people with low literacy skills on the one hand. They are able to spell, they are able to write their names, but they are not able to read text or to write full text. And on the other hand, people who are fully literate and like ordinary people. And you see the gaps here. You see there is not necessarily a gap between marriages, between people who have low literacy skills or people who have higher literacy skills. So that doesn't matter so much. Unemployment is higher among people with low literacy skills, but the majority is employed in Germany. And when it comes to literacy practices, we see that the gap opens. The question is, the questions are, it's a couple of questions behind this bar, whether or not people feel they can practically get along, like fill a form or answer a question or make a shopping list, etc. So there is a gap between people who have low literacy skills. So 19.5% of the people say more often, well, it's difficult for me to execute it, while the majority that reads and writes properly is able to do that. But what I want to show is debates for improving our reading and writing skills. I also asked a tool to generate images to create me a prompt engineer. I usually got male prompt engineer suggestions, so I definitely asked for a female prompt engineer. And out of 4 pictures, this was the most female I got. So there is an algorithmic bias in the image and text generation by artificial intelligence. This algorithmic bias tends to discriminate marginalized populations. So people with low literacy skills definitely need to learn how to control results. That often means reading very precisely, and the International Literacy Day is definitely the moment to raise awareness for this fact. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Anke.
Thank you, Dr. Anke. Finally, I request to put on Dr. John Bensman from New Zealand to share his thoughts. He has a huge experience of adult literacy and education and has contributed to various international literacy projects. Warm welcome to him. Dr. John, please.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings from Aotearoa, New Zealand. My name is John Benjamin. When we are thinking about how to improve literacy, we often think predominantly about the numbers of programs, teachers and learners. But what I want to do today is raise the issue of quality of programs and teaching and ways that we can increase the impact, focusing on that. Before we get on to that, I want to first of all just look at the issue of how do teachers learn to teach, to do what they do in the classroom. These are some of the responses that we've had from research that we've done here in New Zealand. Teachers watch other teachers. This convention, we've always done it this way. Someone's good idea, maybe they heard a good idea or read about it. Some people try and implement a particular philosophy, maybe learner-centered. Handbooks are a source of information, advice from colleagues, feedback from learners and professional courses. But what do teachers actually do in the classroom? The best way of knowing about this is looking at observation studies where researchers record and observe what teachers actually do. And below are some of the findings that we had from a study that we did. Often teachers actually teach very differently from how they say they teach. There's a discrepancy between what they think they do and what they actually do. A lot of teaching in literacy programs is actually fairly generic. It involves ways of doing things that are common to any form of education. They often have a limited range of teaching strategies. Their repertoire is small. Not many of them can name any philosophies, theories, or significant pieces of research. Teachers talk a lot, sometimes 60, 70% of the time, and learners don't say a lot. On the other hand, when learners do talk, a few tend to dominate. And there is often very little learner-to-learner interaction. And at the end of the day, the strongest influence on how people teach is how they themselves were taught. It seems to be, well, it worked for me, so why won't it work for everyone else? I want to talk about research-based teaching. What is research-based teaching? Well, fundamentally, it involves the critical review of the results of research that measure the impact on learners and the factors that influence the impact of those programs. So it's trying to work out what works. In order to do that, we need well-designed research, and in that, not all research is equal. Just because a study's been done doesn't mean to say that we should take note of it if it involves 5 learners, for example, versus studies that involve hundreds of learners and other research that replicates it. So the larger the number and the higher the quality of the research, the greater the confidence we can to take those results and know that they will work in other situations. And just a final point, that meta-analyses that take the results of hundreds of studies, in some cases thousands of learners, are a very good source of information. Research-based work is actually common to how most modern professionals work. When we go to the doctor, we want to know that when she works out a new medication or a new remedy, that it is based on the latest research, and preferably a lot of research. When we drive over a bridge, we want to know that the engineers who designed it have looked at all the latest research on all the magical things that go into bridge design. Research-based teaching is now quite common and disseminated very well. Much greater overlap. That looks at learner feedback. So these are some findings from a collection of studies that has looked at learner feedback, about how you need to do it, when, what type of feedback, and so on. And down below there is an idea about how you might follow up on this, videoing a teacher's teaching session and sharing it amongst colleagues for discussion. And finally, I've just thrown together some follow-up for the keen readers who want to have a look at any of these things in a bit more depth. Most of these are online references, so there's something for you to follow up, some light reading. I hope your conference goes well, and I hope given you a little bit to think about today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
So it was quite an insightful discussion by Dr. John. Professor Sitharam, could you kindly conclude the session?
Yeah, thank you. Friends, I think we heard all the international speakers today, and it was a very interesting as well as a learning. So I'll say it's a collaborative learning, that is learning from one another, which involves sharing what we heard, the best practices in different countries. We heard something on research-based teaching, and we also heard about AI, how, and fake news as well. So leveraging AI for literacy as well as misinformation, one can think about. So friends, we are all living in an exciting times in this digital era. So world is very fast changing with disruptive innovations and impacting every sphere of our life. Education sector and also in the literacy sector is also no exception. So we heard fantastic examples given by our international speakers. So this disruptive innovation propelled by digital and communication technology, so of course actually India, a very natural advantage, and that's where the NEP 2020 is also played. And I'm very happy and also congratulate Department of School Education and Literacy coming up with ULLAS, Now Bharat Saksharata Karyakram, and also this International Literacy Date of 2024 under ULLAS. So this is a true progress of our nation, which can be only achieved when every citizen attains a basic level of literacy, including financial literacy, digital literacy, and life skills, enabling them to actively contribute to their personal growth and development of our nation as well. So you could see India could be an example how the digital literacy and financial literacy has reached the nook and corner of the country. And the similar thing should happen with AI coming in, and we should look at how to leverage this AI for misinformation as well as fake news. And you heard one or two speakers speaking about it. So with these few remarks, I thank all my panelists today who shared their knowledge with us today. And I would like to conclude saying that India is making an effort to reach 100% literacy by 2030. And it is also, I would like to share one other information. The Ministry of Education has proposed a very new academic bank of credit and a unique APAR ID for every student. This is Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry, APAR, which is a unique ID for every student in India starting from LKG to PhD. We will have a unique ID. We have linked that to the academic bank of credit, which is like a bank account. So they can earn their credits from any skill courses and any of those. And then, it's a seamless integration of skills and experience into credit-based system through National Credit Framework, which is part of the National Education Policy 2020. With these two remarks, I think we could also contribute to the Global South and other our partners here in the area of literacy. And now it is redefined with many other features coming into this literacy programs. So with these few remarks, I conclude this session. Thank you very much. And thank you, the Ministry of School Education and Literacy, for inviting me to be the chair of this session. And I wish the very best to everyone. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. We had an enlightening discussion with an international flavor, and it was very ably chaired by respected AICTE Chairman, Professor T.G. Sitharam. We are celebrating the Literacy Day tomorrow, and we are very privileged to have Honorable Vice President of India presiding the session tomorrow morning. And I suppose most of you will see again there tomorrow. I would like to thank the UNESCO team for being present here in strength and being a partner to this program. Thank you so much. The state officers I see here, the voluntary teachers, the learners, I am thankful to all of them, and the media present, because When we are talking of Jan Jan Sakshar, it will be possible only when it reaches Jan Jan. And media is a huge partner for that. So a big thank you to all of you. And for NCERT for arranging it so well, I am very thankful to them. So thank you so much. And we will all have tea. Where is the tea?